Hello everybody, today I will show you how to manage your Synology GitLab instance on your Synology device. For those who are new, Synology is a network attached storage device company, or it started like that, and the DSM is the operating system of their hardware implementation of the network attached storage device. For this demonstration, I use the DSM 7.0, but for now, at the moment, the current DSM version is the 7.2. But it's compatible with both of the systems. The 7.1 is just the currently popular one. Okay, this is the DSM as you know it, and we have nothing installed. But before we can install it, let's start it with the build. Let's build a new instance for our own purpose. Now we go to the GitLab repository, and first we have to clone the repository. Let's do it on our desktop. For that, we open a terminal, go to the desktop folder, and here we can just copy the clone command and paste it here. Yes, okay. In the earlier versions, there were git clone already in front of that, but we can write it real quick. Git clone that. Now it's cloning, and here we have this repository cloned to our local drive. We also can directly have a look at the instructions, and here we can just search for the build command, and you see here directly build instructions. We have to execute this command. For that, we cd into our Synology folder or into the project folder. We can see this is the desired build, this H. It's a bash script. And now let's build it for the 13.4.3 version. Paste the command, press enter, and voila, the build is complete. Simply as that. If you need another build, you can just have a look at the command options. With the version you decide, or you choose the version you like. There is no download of the version or of the GitLab container. It's just a toolkit for the installation. It's just for easy purposes. You will see it a little bit later. The version number doesn't really plays a big role. The most important part is actually this toolkit version number 110.001. It's the first release of that. And the second important part is the desired operating system. In this case, it's 7.1. You can choose it, make it 7.2 or even 6.0. It's easy as that. After you build your own package, you can go to the SPK folder, which was created during the creation. It's here. And here you find the 3 SPK files. We don't need the 7.2 or 6.0 for now. So I delete it. And now we can install our created package. We log into our DSM first, go to the package center, And here we simply choose a manual install. Now we go to our home folder, desktop, choose the GitLab CE folder or SPK, and now here we find our package. We choose that, go to next, and it says directly, sorry bro, we cannot do that. You need Docker installed first. Okay, let's do that real quick. Docker install. Okay. We have seen that we need a 16 version. This is the 20, so we are good here. Manual install again. And now it's working. It says that it's a third-party package. It's correctly, it is a third-party package. You click agree, and now you get the command. As you install a toolkit for GitLab, this doesn't really boot up a GitLab container for you, because since DSM 7.2 or 7.1 actually, you have no root capabilities on the installer of the package. And without root, you cannot really boot up Docker containers. You can do it by the APIs, but the APIs are really flaky, so it breaks nearly on every update. Something went wrong and your whole container smashes. And because of that, I ditched completely the classic package. So it's only this advanced version here, what you see. And this works really stable. And I don't want to mess you around and break your most important data you have, your development, your code. And for that, we go the safe way and we do it on our shell. This is also described here. The package installs a toolkit for GitLab. After installation is complete, you need to log into your Synology or SSH and execute this command with root privileges. This is with sudo. This is your root. Please modify the arguments to fit your needs. So you can modify here anything you want and fire this command. For now, we just copy this Kate. Yes, Kate. For now, we just copy this command and paste it in our text editor so we can complete the installation. Done. So the next step is to enter our Synology over SSH. If you're a developer, or the most developer familiar with SSH, so it's basically SSH, Synology, what's the host name of my system, 71, and enter. And you can see it's refused. By default, the SSH connection is disabled. You have to enable this first. For that, you go to Control Panel, type SSH, it opens directly. Enable SSH service, apply, boom, you're done. Now you can execute the command and it says I already connected to the system with another key. Okay, this should not appear on your system, it appears on my system, but we'll fix that real quick. And now we clear, so we can start fresh. Okay, we want to SSH in our Synology system. Now we accept the key and we have to type our password. So basically we are logged in. I logged in with my user GBO and now we are on this system. Okay, now we just have to execute this command. We just have a look real quick at the system, in which state it's at the moment. At the moment, you see there is no Docker, there is no GitLab container running. And if you open Docker, you also see there is no image or no container up. But we will change that now. we just copy this whole command and paste it here. You can modify it. Before I named my container Synology GitLab CE, I said the share, so the folder where the data should be stored should be called Synology GitLab CE also, so I can map them directly if I have multiple instances running. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. Now this is the host name. You can choose here another. By default, it's taking the host name of the machine. Now this is the SSH port when you git clone or push or anything over SSH, and this is the HTTP port where you can connect over the browser to your GitLab instance. Change it as you like. This is completely free of any value, so you can modify it as you wish. Now we press enter and it says, okay, this is a sudo. You need to enter your password again. And we do that, enter. And now I'm asked if I really want to install the instance with the desired values. And it says already how the URL will later look like. I say yes, and now the script is running. We are pulling an image over Docker pull. It's exactly the same from Docker Hub GitLab CE. It's basically, or it is this image what we are pulling now. Now after download is completed and the extraction is done, the container should get up and start running. Okay, now here is an important information. Container started successfully, as we can see here. GitLab is still booting. This takes a couple of minutes. Give it a couple of minutes. So it means really a couple of minutes, about 4 minutes on your Synology. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. Basically, you can have a look at your CPU and your RAM usage. When a container starts using about 3 to 4 gigabytes, then the boot is complete. Below that, there's still something in progress. And also you can see here is the URL, the username of the username root, and the password. This is an initialization password. Please change the root password after the first login. So it says here, and we will do that in a couple of minutes. But for now, I will copy that so we do not forget that. Basically, we're done with our terminal. The next usable step will proceed here. Here, I will make it a bit bigger. We can see our Docker container and we can push on details. You can click on log, then you can see what's the log of GitLab, and you also can click on terminal and you will see the output of the container in your terminal. And this takes a while until everything is complete. You see we are now about 1.25 gigabytes of RAM usage. We are not still there. There is a little bit of some gigabytes missing. So we'll wait a little bit. Two gigabytes already. You also see here a huge CPU usage. It's because the container is still booting. Now we've ramped up over 2 gigabytes. And now when you can see production JSON log, most of the time the boot up should be done. Okay, we are still at the 2 gigabytes, but I think it's because of the earlier version. The newer version are definitely using much more RAM. Okay, now we can click here, but we do not see here an icon. That's because we have to reload our page. Our install script have created an icon, but we have to reload the page. After reload, we see our GitLab CE icon, and if we click on that, we see that our instance is up and running. We can log in. And now our GitLab is good to go. Okay, now let's have a little look on our container and what we can do with that. If you start your Docker container, you will see the system up and running here. If you click on details, you can see some information. Basically, this is our port mapping. This is a temporary configuration. And you can modify everything when you stop the container and do it just as you desire. On the file station, you will now see a Docker folder, and here you will see the Docker GitLab CE folder. These are the data we mounted into the container. You can see this, hopefully, you cannot see this here. Yeah, we have to stop for that. We'll do that real quick. And now when you click on edit, you see here are the port settings. You can change them. Also the volume settings. You see that our Docker Synology GitLab CE data, so basically this 3 folder, are mapped inside the container on these locations. So in general, the configuration, the GitLab RB, which is here, if you change it and boot up the container, it takes, it's basically the setting of your GitLab instance. But there is a tiny issue here because of the permissions. Volume 1, Docker Synology. It belongs anything to root, and that's because its permission is handled from inside the container and not from the DSM. So if you're modifying this config files, please take care of that. I hope you know at this moment exactly what you are doing. But with sudo vi, you can have a look at the GitLab RB. If you're not familiar with VI, and there's nothing bad about it, there's also Nano, but Nano is not available on the Synology out of the box. You can go to the Synology community packages. It's Syno community. And you can add this URL to your package repository. Settings. Package sources, sorry. This is the location. The name is that. Okay. Okay, and now you can here search here for CLI, and you see here the CLI file tools. If you install this, you will also have Nano, and this is in my opinion, much more convenient for general user than VI. VI is working, and there's surely a big fan group of that, but Nano is more intuitive, I think, at least my opinion. Okay, let's prepare our instance and do some general tasks which you should actually always do. You never should use your instance as a root user. For that, we go to the admin area, users, and create us a new user called GVO, whatever, email. Yes, this is the way to go. Project limits. Yes, I'm admin or regular. You can decide what you want, and now we can create the user. Reset link will be generated. We will not get it, but I will show you how you can set the password other way. Now we create the user. Now we can simply also modify the user password. Here's in the field. We just give it a password, save changes. Password is too short. Yeah, okay. Hopefully this is okay. Yes, it is. And now we'll leave the root and just use our own user. Yeah, okay. I did my username wrong. But okay, that's no problem. So, and now whatever we can use it and create our tiny project called AAAAA. Create. Great. We now have a project, we have our new user, and we can start using this instance. From time to time, you should do a backup. Here is describing how it's working. It's the same repository, main page, and the README. These are the two commands that are required. This one is for the configuration, and this one is for your data. We just stay here on our console of our Synology, and now we can just paste this command and simply change Synology GitLab CE. This is the container name of our Docker container. And now we want to back up here the configuration. Yes, we have to do the sudo password, and then it's already done. It's because it's just the backup of our configuration, and we can find it here. This is the tar file, and this is basically the config, which is backed up. In the next step, we need to back up the data. Same goes here. Copy, paste, change the container name, and basically you are done. The backup takes a while because it's stopping, starting services, do a GitLab, do a database backup. Okay, it was quicker than expected because our GitLab is nearly empty. But if you're doing it later on your production system, this takes a while. Okay. Now we can see here our data. Here is the backup folder, and here are our backups. Okay, this is done so far for backup. You should automate these commands and do regular backups for your systems, because backup, it's the only way to go. And you also should not save your backups on the Synology, but also elsewhere. I won't say cloud, but maybe you have another Synology where you can mirror the data to. Now our backup is done, and now we're coming to the real interesting part. It's upgrading. And this is a really complicated task, because you cannot just upgrade GitLab. It's not difficult, but you have to be careful not to smash your system or not to smash your data set. And this is the cause why it's updated not so regular, because you have to, or maybe you risk your data, and this is very problematically if your container stops working and you cannot really do something about that. For this, I developed this package in the way that you can run multiple instances of your GitLab instance. The idea behind that is so you can clone your system, your production system, which is a bit heavier than this little one. And then you can test the migrations and the updates on your clone. And if everything is fine or everything worked out, you can apply the updates to your production system. And in this way, you do not get into risking your data or any issues or any production downtimes, even that. For that, it's easy as can be. You can still remember our command. This was the installation. You also, if you forgot it in the meantime, you can also look it up here. It's also on a GitLab instance, the installation guide. And since you can only migrate the dataset between equal GitLab instance versions, you have to clone to the 13.4.3. So we can take our freshly made backups and restore it into our clone. For that, we copy our command, and we have to give it another name. We call it clone. And we also have to change the share. If we would fire this command exactly this as it is, it will not work, because the share would point onto the same folder. And if you update later the clone, you will also automatically update the data set or the databases, etc. in this folder. And that's exactly that what we do not want in any case. So for that, we choose a new share. This will be created automatically on the creation process. And the hostname is still the same. It's the same machine, but we have to choose another port. We cannot run it on the same ports. And if you paste this command in this way, it's also said to you, no, sorry, sir, port 30022 is already taken. For that, we prefix this with a 1, so we can, or we make it here, this is 31022. So we can keep them apart. Now you just paste this command, and it will install a new instance. So for now, we have another clone with another password. It's generated automatically each time. So basically, you will get another one. You also see here the icons went missing. That's because on every install, I'm modifying the icon set or the icon configuration, and you have to reload the page so the icons will show correctly. And now you see here 2 icons, which is at the first glance, it's great, but at the second one, which is which, and you don't know it. I will show you in a second how we can fix that. At this moment, our container is still booting, our clone container. Let's boot him up. And in the meantime, I'll show you the link, the Shorcut Helper. This is basically a script, also in a scripts folder. We're already there. And now we can set for any container the instance or the title which is shown. We also can change the port protocol and the port. It's basically modification of the link. If you click here, you see it's already automatically redirected to 3018. Maybe you want to change your port in the future, and then you have a broken link. And that's what we want to fix here. You also will mention that it's also shown both at the latest port, or it's basically 2 times the same link. It's due to the installation routine, and it's not quite easy to fix or to take care of during the installations, but we will fix it in a minute. I show you where you can find it. It's in the target folder in the UI, and here you will see the config, and this is basically JSON. You can modify it here directly if you are sure with JSON, but not everybody is familiar with JSON and how it's worked out. So basically, you can just use the script which is doing that for you. And now we can say, okay, we want our Synology GitLab CE, my GitLab 1, and we want to show it to the port 3080 as it was before. Whoop. But I made a mistake. Just a second. We have to modify the command. We do it here so it's more readable. So the port is still 380, but we have to set here value and not to add. Add will be an add. I will show you in a minute, and set is the set. As you can see, we have the cd command before this command. We're also already in this folder, so we do not really need that here. We can just paste it there, and they are gone. Reload, and my GitLab 1 is here and is showing to our first instance. We can do the same for our clone, which is save my GitLab, which will save my GitLab clone. Okay, and this time we need the port 310. Okay, 31080. We paste it here, and it's set. And now we have our GitLab clone and our GitLab regular and we can switch between them as we want to. Okay, close this little. And now you also can do other GitLab links. You can use here -h. It shows you what you can do with that. We can add, we can set, we can also remove a link if we're not sure about, but as described, you can do it also in the file. But before you modify something, make a backup. So if you mess something up, you can restore the file. Otherwise, you can always do a reinstall of the package, and this should fix the issue. So if you mess something up, just go to the package. Oh, we will demonstrate it in a second. Let's say we go for the target UI, and for some reason, we removed the config. And after restarting the package, stop, run, our icons are gone. And this bad, you can always restore it by just installing it. It's a toolkit. You do not modify during the installation, you do not modify any of the container or something like that. We do it exclusively over our bash or our terminal. And this is basically the toolkit with the scripts and the tools we need to make that. Just install it over. It says here this is the update routine. We come here in a minute. And now we are done. The icon is not here yet because we have to reload, or the icon is missing because we have to edit. And this basically happens during the installation routine. So we can do here just our 2 commands again, and the icons will be restored. So paste. No, not this one. Paste. Yes, we don't want to set, we want to add. We want also add our regular and it's here again. So in general, you cannot mess anything up. Everything is fixable with that. So you're good to go here. Okay, let's go back to our clone. We can log in here with the root user, and we will see everything is empty. So it's not a clone. It's just a second instance, but an empty instance. Now let's make this a real clone. For that, we just go to File Station, Config, also here, and we also just copy this to our config folder, same here, and also we go to Data and copy the backups to our data folder. So now what we have to do is to restore the backup. For that, we want to have a look into the container. This is just so you can see that the copied data is seen by the container. You can just go to the terminal, create one, and now we are in the bash. This is inside the container. I think this was var opt GitLab. And now we have here the backups. And here we see our backup. So it's generally exactly this folder here. And our clone sees his backup, so let's restore it. Exit here. And now we just have to follow the restore routine. For that, it's a little bit easier to go through text editor. You can replace this here with your Synology GitLab CE clone container. And now we can execute this command one by one. Okay, for now, we have to stop these two services. These services are basically database services, so we do not want that anything is messing around with the database while we're doing the restore. So now we want to verify that these services are really down. And they are, as you can see here and here, Puma and Sidekick. At first, we restore the configuration. The configuration is just a tar file, which is just containing this part. And if you need something restored, just restore it manually from that. This is just a simple data restore. And it's also not recommended to keep the both backups in the same place because these are encryption keys, something there, and so on. You do not have to restore it until you need it. Really? So what we are doing here is just extract here. We see in Etsy, GitLab, and this in our keys. We are copy them, going to our config folder, paste in here and overwrite them, and we're done. This is in general the restore of the configuration just by overwriting the configuration data here. Now we have to restore the data. For that, we get back to our backups folder. We modify the name here. And this is exactly the same name, but without the GitLab backup tar suffix. So here we have to fix the permissions of the file because as we copied it, it got another permission. The correct permissions required to do a proper restore. And now we do the GitLab backup restore command. Oop. The restore takes a while, so you have to be a little bit patient. Okay, we see here we got into an issue. So our backups folder, we copied the whole folder and not only the file, so I made there a mistake. Let's fix that real quick with our terminal on here. And we see that the folder is GitLab backups. Okay, let's cd there and have a look. And we see backups is something 26 users. Okay, and we see here the other ones are always git root, and let's just do a chown git root chown -r git root backups -r. Oh, we don't need -r here really. Okay, now the folder fixed. The permission here for the file is set properly. Now let's try restore again. Yeah, it's sometimes an issue by when you copy data from one source to another that the permissions of the data is set to something. So we see here it's asking us that Sidekick and Puma is down. Yes, we have done this with these commands. They are already down. Yes, please do the restore. This is not a real error. Yes, it shows as error, but the restore works every time properly. So there is a task about that. If you want to read more about this, you can read something here and have a look how it's what it is impacting. Okay, we see our restore is done. Oh no, yes, it's done. So rebuild, yes, do a rebuild. Well, good. We need to restart the clone or the container so it gets booted up with the restored configuration and with the restored dataset. So let's have a look. What's the container telling us? Yes, it's still booting. 177. Okay. Oh, it's already good to go. And we can try the new password, but it shouldn't work because we have restored the dataset from our previous system, and now it should be this password. So root. Yes, it is. Okay. But we should not only use root. We should be able to say to use our whatever user. And indeed, the whatever user is here. So we are good to go. Well, maybe we can change whatever to, yes, I want to change it so I can log in more easily. So, but this is our clone. And now in the next step, we will try to update it. Okay, now as we have our full properly clones, we can do whatever we want with the clone without risking our production system, which will still run in the whole time. And in the meantime, we will update the clone and we'll see where it breaks or not. Okay. As I mentioned before, you do not simply update GitLab to a recent or to another version. The current version as of recording is GitLab CE Docker Hub. We'll have a look. Tags. The latest version is the 1801, but we cannot just simply update to 1801 because the database migrations will break anything and this will not work at all. For that, we have an upgrade path. As always, go back to the README and search for upgrade. Update. Where is it? Yeah, upgrade path. Okay. There is. You have to see what's your upgrade path, and path by meaning you have to jump between special versions so the migrations are done properly. You have to use on this side, which makes your life a lot easier. You do not have to update to every version. You can update to the required versions. And now we have 13.4.3. And I entered it here for 3, and we want update to our 1801. You can use Docker here, but that doesn't really makes a real difference. Okay, 13.4.3 got lost. Okay, 13.43. Oh, we cannot really. So basically, our upgrade path starts before. So okay, when we take a version before our 4.3, so we take 13.3.9 because it's one before, and we get a full path from that. So you can read it this way. We have firstly update to 13.8.8, then continue 13.12, 15, 14, and so on. This is a really, really unusual upgrade path because I'm doing here the worst case for you, so we can really do anything that can happen, or hopefully can happen. We also should run into migration problems, hopefully, so I can show you how to fix it. And for the first, we just make us a list with the versions we really need. So you can make a text editor and just do a little bit cleanup here. And these are the versions we need to install to get a proper migration. When you will have a look here at the download sections, you will not find all of these versions here, but that's okay. We don't really need them. As I said before, it's a toolkit, and it's important the version here this is the tool set. And basically, if you download something and install it, it just shows you a message how the upgrade will look like, and this message you will also find here. So update instance, and this is this command here. In general, it's update your container and to the desired version. So we can copy this part and directly paste it on every page for every version. And these are the commands we have to execute just to get updated. I will show you how it will look like if you do it with the package. So if there will be another version, say 16.5.5, then this will show you exactly the same command as I show you here in the documentation, but here you will see 16.5.5. So it's not installing anything. It's just the toolkit what it's provided with the package. The real upgrade is starting on your console, and we do not want to upgrade the Synology GitLab CE container. We want to update the clone container. So we modify them all here. And yeah, that's basically it. We have to be sure that we are in the right folder to execute this command. In case you're not sure, this is the command before. To cd into the scripts folder of the toolkit, and now you can just execute the commands one by one. Okay, let's get started. Now we see we are 13.4.3, and we paste here the command, and we want to update this container. GitLab update Synology GitLab CE clone container to version 13.8.8. We push enter. Because it's a sudo command, we need to enter our password. And it asks you directly if you want to create a backup before. This is the same but automated as we have done manually before. It creates a backup here and a backup here of the clone. Of course. And let's do this for the first time so we can have a look and you will get convenient with that. And you see here also that this will not work because we have forgot the CEO here. Okay, for that we will make it a little bit easier. I go Control Z, roll back this all issues of this command, and we will just replace this part with this, which make us a right command. We can execute it this way, but you will see it will break after the backup when we start pulling the container. And at this moment is absolutely secure. At this moment, nothing has been done. We will just do it now so you can see that it breaks nothing, because the only thing what happened is after I pulled the container, I shut down the container, then I switch the tag in the export the description of the container, switch the tag within the container of your GitLab version, so on 3.8.8 in this case. And then I try to boot up the container, and you see the fetch of the 13.8.8 version. This is not existent. This version does not exist, and the fetch failed. So basically, we have done the backup successfully. What's good so far? Here's our backups. But the replacement of the container haven't worked because the pull haven't worked, so we do not have to stop the container, replace it with nothing. So basically, nothing happens here. Now with the correct command, paste. Yes, will do. And now you see here the proper GitLab CE version. We will see the backup is done. And now he start pulling the right version. At this moment, nothing happens yet because it's the Docker container is not downloaded yet. And now, only now, as the newer image is pulled, then we just stop the container, switch the image version, and then we boot up the container. And you can see this has been changed. Do not wonder that your package version also bumps up to the 13.8.8. It's designed, or it was previously designed for one GitLab container. So basically the SPK handled one GitLab container, and there was no reason to, or it was, I thought it was a good idea to keep the version same. But now when you have two, this doesn't make really sense, but it's stayed from there. And if you're using only one container, it's still nice. Okay. Now our container is booting up. You can see here all migrations and everything what's happening inside. And you also can look here after the RAM usage to detect if it's already booted up or not. Okay, we have 2 gigabytes. This should be good. Okay. Our GitLab instance is up. We don't need this anymore because the data set is just cloned from here. I can use my user. Here you can see that we have been successfully updated to 13.8.8. And now we have to repeat it 20 more times ish. I will proceed that for you, and you can have a look in the time lapse. Let's go. Okay, now we have a problem. What kind of problem? Yes, as you can see, our container is just boot looping, and it says container stopped unexpectedly. That means that our container is not able to boot. And that's because when we change the GitLab version, on the first boot, the migrations are running. So before booting, the database changes are applied to GitLab dataset, and this breaks, and that's meant by the migrations failed. As we can see here, there is an error, but it's barely readable because the container already died. When we have a look at the log, we can have a little we can see a little of the data set because it just keep writing and it's going on. So we cannot enter, or if we enter the container and try to fix something, we will be thrown out directly because it's just trying to boot. So now we are inside the container, and if he's running into the issue again, which has happened already, you see our terminal is gone. So we cannot work within a time frame of 3 to 10 seconds. It's not working this way. Okay, so what we can do in this case, luckily we have 2 instances here, so our production system is still up and running and we can use it, and we have to fix the issue only for our clone system. Okay, but now we have the problem. We don't really know what happened, and we can just try to investigate into the logs and see what's breaking down. Okay, we can see here something: error execution, run actions, migrations, compile resource, bash output. Oh, caused by batch background given. Okay, this seems like it's the issue, but I show you how you handle this case. For that, we have the Docker container boot looping issue, but basically it's migration problems. And for that, I wrote the helper script. It's called GitLab Debug, and you can just call it this way. We enter here Synology GitLab CE clone, because we want to GitLab to debug our clone, which is currently boot looping. Boot looping means it shutdowns and starts an infinity loop. Okay, you can stop it, or you can just run it this way. For sudo, we need the password. Now its container is automatically stopped, because what's happened here is I'm stopping the container, then I'm building up a Docker run command without the start scripts of the GitLab. So the migration is not started when we enter the GitLab container, and we have chances to do something. This command has also an argument which is v for verbose, and then you can see the command which is generated to Docker inside the container. But we do not Docker inside this container in general. We make our own container. It's called Synology GitLab SPK clone debug. And we start with bash and not with the start script of GitLab. And because of that, we have the chance to do something before the error occurs. Please note, depending on your GitLab version, there is a different start script. I think up to 7.0.0 it's SSL Certificate, and beyond GitLab 17 there is another one. But I extract this from the configuration and show it here. So basically, you need just to do what here is written. So, okay, we want to start container. I play yes, and now we are inside the container. You will not see it here because it's not a Synology managed container. If you do another instance, docker ps sudo docker ps, you can see our debug container is running, but it's not mentioned here. It's not important, just so you see the whole picture. Okay, now our GitLab is not running yet. We can start it with this command, and if everything is working fine, our GitLab should be reachable at this port later, but for now we expect to run into the same error as we see here, or have seen here. This was, I think, never mind, it will be shown here. Okay, let's start up GitLab. Basically, it's the same when you start the container here. It started automatically the assets wrapper script, and now we have done this manually to force to get into our problem we get while boot looping. And now we will get an error message, and then we will have a look what it's telling us and what it's expecting us to do. Here we are. Now we have the same error here as well, and we see that there was an error during GitLab control reconfigure. This is in general the same error as we see here, but now we have more verbose and more readable. Okay, there's something gone bad. It says it's expected something here, expected background migration when the configuration is finished, but it's active. And it suggests us finalize it manually by running this command. Okay, we will do that. Copy. As you can see, although the error occurs, we are still within the container, and our container or our debug container is still up and running. So we can paste this command here. Sudo we don't really need, but yeah, we have to remove it because it doesn't know sudo. Isn't installed within the container. And now we enter this command. Okay, it suggested that this wasn't writable, but it's done now. Okay. Now let's retry the script. Retry the startup script and see if it's working now. This looks much better now. GitLab is reconfigured, everything. Looks fine so far. Okay. Okay. So as you have seen, we have executed this command and it says done. So I think we fixed the problem. Okay, got it. Now we exit the container and now this should be gone. Yes, now it's gone. Okay. Okay, let's try to boot it again and see what's up with that. Yeah, hopefully we will not run into the error again. Yeah, the container seems up and running. And now we can also log in. Yeah, okay. Great. Okay, so we fixed this issue by starting the debug container and executing this command as suggested by the error. So for now, I will continue with our migration path and we'll see if there are surprises. Okay, now the upgrade path complete. We have reached the latest GitLab version at this moment, and you have seen there were no issues during the whole upgrade procedure. Maybe if you have a more complex GitLab repository and with more projects and so on, maybe your experience will vary or you will run into troubles, but you can fix that with the debug feature and have a look inside the container, even if it's boot looping. For now, you can see GitLab is consuming about 4.5 gigabytes of RAM. So keep that in mind if you're planning your Synology RAM upgrade, and you have to consider during each upgrade, please be patient and wait until the CPU goes down. Then you can be sure that the migrations are complete. You can also have a look at the terminal. Here you can see in general what's the output of the container, and then you can see something like this. Then it's basically also down here. We can see also up here. We can see, for example, the post requests and so on. For now, this is it. See you in a minute. Now I want to show you the inactivity shutdown feature that I built in. In general, you have a problem if you're running your Synology like me. I have only the GitLab container itself, and I have a problem that if the GitLab container is running, my Synology cannot go to sleep. So the drive do not sleep. The cron tasks within the container are keeping everything awake. And of course, it's the point of GitLab. I agree. But since I'm a single user for the system, I don't need that. And I prefer that the GitLab container and will shut down, and the Docker service will shut down completely, so my drives can go to sleep and do not make noise and consume power. So for that, I wrote a feature which is called GitLab Inactivity Shutdown script. Copy, and you can have a look at that by using the help feature. What does this thingy do? Well, it's connecting into your container and is watching on the logs from your container, which are here, and the HTTP logs are processed, and then depending on that, it generates timer, which then shut down the system if timer is reached. So you see we have here activity logs. These are used to read the current activity. So we can do this simply by calling the script Synology GitLab CE is our container, and we have the options seconds and shutdown Docker. If we take shutdown Docker as an option with that, the Docker service will be shut down complete. This is useful when you have only one container running. You can shut down this completely, because the Docker itself can cause the Synology not going to sleep, and because of that, I have the option that you can shut down this too. And this is the timer that should be reached before the system or the shutdown effect will happen. So I have configured now that this will take this will need 3,600 seconds. That's basically an hour. So if there is for an hour no activity on an HTTP side, so when there is no use, the container shutdowns itself. As you can see, even keeping this page open will connect to that. And it's not matter which user is using that. As far as a connect is there, the timer will be reset each time. So I close the connection for now so that this thing can stop. And now we can just execute the command. For now, nothing will happen because we need an hour of inactivity to shut down the container. There is a log for that, so we can see what's really happening there. You can find the log into this folder. Var, this is var log packages. And then you can see the inactivity log here You can tail on that. Sudo su to change to the root user. Okay, we can see that the last activity, there is nothing to do. Okay, if we execute this again, you see the same, nothing to do. Okay, this is the last activity. If you take the current timestamp, you can see the difference. If we reduce the threshold on 3 seconds, which is of course insane, you will see that the system will shut down nearly immediately. You see this is already stopping. The script takes a little longer, and you see inactivity threshold was reached, shutting down, container was stopped, the Docker service is stopped, and everything is down. Now, what do you do if you need your container? Basically, you log in into your DSM and you go to Package Manager, pick your GitLab CE, say run. It automatically starts the Docker container, this Docker service, and boots up the container, and you're good to go. So you can see it's already, everything is booting, and after a couple of minutes it's done. I use my GitLab not that often, so it's no issue for me. Just take a look. Maybe you can use this, maybe it's nothing for you, but it's there if you need it. How can this be automated? This check, this is very easy. You can go to the task scheduler, can create a scheduled task, user-defined script. The user have to be root because you have to connect into the Docker container, and then GitLab inactivity schedule and the task settings. You can run here the user-defined script. You have to write a sudo before, so the script is running as root. The check within the script needs a UID 0, and if it's sudo not in front of that, it's not working. Okay, now we can just decrease the threshold to test if our script will work properly. We'll have here a tail. At the moment, the containers are still running. We still make run. We see that the inactive threshold is reached and that this container is shutting down. Okay, this is how you can do an inactivity check and shut down the container if the inactivity is too long. Okay, let's come to the SSL encryption of your connection. As you can see, this is not secure. It's using the HTTP protocol. For those of you who want to have a secure connection between your machine and your repository or your Synology, then you have to upgrade to SSL. This can happen in different ways. I'll show you just a helper for self-signed certificate. If you using Let's Encrypt and anything like that, you maybe know better what you're doing than I do. And just in case, you will find the GitLab RB in the Docker Synology config. You can modify it as you like. You can go with Nano, as I showed before. Nano is coming from the package from the Synology file tools package, which is hosted on the Synology community repository. So you can just SSH in your container, go to the volume 1 Docker and your Synology GitLab CE folder, go here to config and name out your GitLab RB. You can do it also with vi. Of course, you have to do sudo because the file belongs to root, and you can modify here anything you want. You can also see that there is a Let's Encrypt integration configuration completely, and if you're done, you need to reconfigure your GitLab repository. Yes, this is the right. This is the configuration. These are the commands. After any change of the GitLab RB, you have to execute the GitLab control reconfigure and GitLab control restart. This is doing the reconfiguration and the services restart, and then your configuration takes effect. Before that, when the container is booting, it's fetching the configuration and then it's running within this configuration. If you change the file, there will nothing happen until you do the reconfigure and the restart. So now I will show you just the helper I built. It's for a self-signed certificate. Self-signed certificate is basically also a certificate, but there is no issuer beyond that. You are the own issuer and your browser will not trust it per se, but you can tell the browser that you have to trust it, and then your traffic is encrypted between your client, your browser, and your GitLab front end. It's the same encryption, it's the same security level, but your browser doesn't know the issuer, and because of that, you will get a warning from your browser. But your traffic will be technically encrypted, and if you have a man-in-the-middle attack and something is reading your traffic between your browser and your GitLab, this traffic will be encrypted. Okay, this is the self-signed cert script. You can search for that here, and you can see the command for that to install this on your container. It's same as usual. Copy, paste, maybe modify before paste, because multi-line commands are quite difficult to modify in the terminal. For some reason, some characters are not working. Synology GitLab -e. Yes, there's an I missing. You don't need the quotes here. If it's not have spaces. Okay, the host name is xpinology71 here, and we want to use the port 8443. This script do modify your GitLab configuration, so the engines will be listening to this port. It will apply a new generated certificate, and it will also modify your instance and apply a new port mapping. It's well documented because it's an automated script. You can have a look inside, and if you need some modifications, or you want to see what's happening, basically this is the magic where the certificate is created and applied. So let's do the magic. Copy, paste. This is asking for the port. Yes, because we have here an error. This should not be HTTPS port. This have to be the port. Now the script is complete. Our instance is booting currently. You can see there the script applied a new port, and what you also can see is when you go to our GitLab RB and say sudo nano GitLab.rb, you see we have here a change. We have now an external URL. This is one of the modification which is then done to your GitLab RB. There are several other modifications. For example, this one is also modified. This is the key, the generated key, which is applied here. And you will also see that the Let's Encrypt enable is false because we have a self-sign. Okay, but now we see the certificate, the container is up and running. The HTTP will not work anymore. This is correctly. With that, we should have a new icon here, but after a restart, it disappears and you have to reload the page. And now our icon should show to the HTTPS. You see here there is not secure. The correct port is chosen, and you see there's HTTPS now, but the browser says that the connection is not secure because certificate is not within the browser. It's not a trusted source. Okay, but if you accept the risk and continue, you are now you have now your encrypted connection, and you can see your traffic is encrypted. And that's what we wanted to achieve here. We can view here the certificate, which was self-signed by us. And now you have a self-signed certificate and know how it's working. Okay, let's come to the last point, and this is how do I uninstall this GitLab package if I don't want it anymore. Because if you uninstall this package, in general, nothing happens. Yes, the icons are missing, but you have your container here still running, and yeah, that's it. Nothing really disappears. You can uninstall it and reinstall it as you like. And the only thing you will see that the icons are missing, but you can reapply the icons with the icon helper, and then you are ready to go. And you have this icon again. Okay, to really uninstall this package is you have to uninstall, of course, the GitLab CE itself. And then you need just kill the container. So in this case, we kill both. I kill this one and I kill this container. They are both shutting down now. Once they are shut down, we just want to delete the container and delete this container. At this moment, we just deleted the vehicle, not the data. So if you reinstall the package and run the shell command to create a new container and map it to this data folders, then your GitLab instance reappear magically, and any data and any configuration is still there. But now we have deleted the containers. They are not here anymore. And this is the data which left. If you want to uninstall, make the uninstall complete, just delete the share folder and all data is gone completely. You see, this takes a while because there are several backups and so on. But now we have a clean uninstalled situation. And if you don't need, you can uninstall Docker too. Okay, that's for it. Hope you like it. Bye.